week's episode of Rachel Gaffney's Real Ireland from Dallas, Texas. When I was coming in this morning, it was so wet and miserable. I thought I was at home, actually. I thought it was in Ireland. It had that kind of dreary wet and that kind of grey sky, and I shouldn't be saying that. It's not like that in Ireland all of the time, just a lot of the time. But sure, I tell people all the time, you know, if you go to Ireland for the weather, don't. Go to Ireland because you want to go to Ireland. If you get great weather, then that's a bonus. And if you don't, sure, then you won't be disappointed. You'll just have a great time. But in this week's episode, I wanted to mention to you that this is March the 13th. So we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up, March the 17th. And as a special guest this week, we've got live from Ireland, the Managing Director of Dromoland Castle, Mr. Mark Nolan, who I'm thrilled has agreed to be on our show today. And we'll have a chat with him about life inside Dromoland Castle, and indeed maybe a little bit of life outside the castle, and show you a little video and some photographs. And if you have questions for us on the castle or for Mark, you can post them in the live feed or in Twitter at Rachel Gaffney, and then you can find Dromoland Castle. But we'll answer hopefully all your questions and share some really nice information on the castle with you. So that's coming up shortly, and Mark is ready in County Clare waiting to speak to you all. So we look forward to that. But I thought I would start with a little image that I captured on my iPhone this morning as it's St. Patrick's Day. And I was getting ready, and in the background came up the Kathy Lee and Hoda show, which I love, don't get me wrong. And we got our little Irish segment for about 2 minutes, and up came this, and I just snapped a photograph because actually I was kind of green, but it was with anger. I thought, no, please, not again. So I don't know if we have that image that the one of the background, they had, I think it was Kathy Lee and Hoda were asking some questions. Did you see that, Anna?
Yeah, we do have it on the stream right now.
Oh, right. So the photo is of
a rainbow.
Yeah, but it's a caricature, you know, that whole Irish thing as well. And this is exactly my point. Guys, even on the Today Show, I love you and I love NBC, and I know I'm trying to be trite here. I do like you guys, but this isn't fair. I am sick to death of this. I'm sick to death of... We have 365 days in the year. We've got 52 weeks. We get maybe a condensed week for St. Patrick's Day, and this is what we get. We get this caricature, we get drunk, we get green beer, we get cabbage, we get dyeing the rivers. Like I said on last week's show, not fair to all the people in Ireland who have been working so hard to raise the profile of Irish food, drink, education, travel, fashion, design. Shall I go on? So that's what this show was about. It's about the Ireland I know, the Ireland I grew up in, the Ireland that my family still live in, the Ireland that I take my clients to visit, and the Ireland that the people in Ireland would like everybody to know about. So, because we don't make our living off caricatures of green beer and cabbage. It's not fair anymore. And we don't do it to other cultures. We don't do it to the Italians. We certainly don't do it to the French with their food. So let's kind of get together, everybody, and let's support Ireland and their effort with food and drink. Anyway, moving on, that's my little gripe for the day over, but I think it's topical. And so this brings me into a little thing on, I don't know if you can see here in front of me, please God you can, I brought in a little table arrangement that I made for a St. Patrick's Day table. And it's a beautiful blue pot that I own, and I bought some fresh Shamrock in Callaway's nursery, or you can get the red one, which is known as oxalis, and that's the Shamrock family. So here's your fresh Shamrock, and a little piece of driftwood. And by the way, folks, Shamrock grows really, really well in Texas. I mean, I will plant this now after a week or so, and it's a perennial. It comes back year after year in my garden. I love it.
It does?
It does, yeah. It grows beautifully in Texas. So here's a nice arrangement for the Shamrock. But this leads me into what I want to talk about, which is, of course, the famous March 17th is all about St. Patrick. So March 17th is the anniversary of his death. So Patrick died in March 17th, 461 AD. And people don't realize, so what's all about the Shamrock is the symbol of Ireland. First of all, Shamrock's not the symbol of Ireland. I don't know if you know that. Shamrock was used by St. Patrick, and it was used, and I'm going to pick off a piece here. As you all know, the three-leaf shamrock was used to tell the story of the Holy Trinity. God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. So it actually has religious significance. So we've all heard about St. Patrick banning the snakes out of Ireland, right? Well, we don't have any snakes in Ireland. We're not warm enough as a country to have snakes. Okay, there might be some, you know, the earthworm and some maybe garden variety here and there, but we don't have snakes. And we probably never did. But what most scholars believe, and is probably more apt, is that he used banning the snakes as banning paganism. So St. Patrick introduced Christianity into Ireland, and to do this, one of the things he used was the shamrock to tell the story of the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And then, of course, the snakes are just a symbol that he banned the snakes. The next thing I want to talk about was I was visiting last year, and I was going to Ballywalter Park in County Down with some clients. And on the drive, I decided we'd stop. We had time in a place in County Down, and we stopped outside Down Cathedral. And I think we have an image of this, and this is where St. Patrick was actually buried. So he was buried in the grounds of St. Patrick was buried in the grounds of Down Cathedral. Now, Down Cathedral is actually Church of Ireland, and it's on the site of a Benedictine monastery. But we should have a photo up for you now of St. Patrick's grave. Can you see that?
Yeah, it is on stream, and I have the cathedral showing already. But let's go back to the grave. It's very interesting. I don't know. It's not something that I expected to be like this. I thought it would be more kind of bigger.
You thought it'd be more elaborate?
Perhaps.
Yeah. Did you hear when I said he died? He died in 461 AD, so it was pretty simple times.
Right, but I don't know, you know, through time, and church does tend to create elaborate, I mean, just go to Rome, right?
Not only are those things simple, I mean, you think about it. I went to Nantucket not so long ago with my friend, and we went for a walk out to the cliffs, Sally and I remember there was all these railings and everything along these cliffs and signs saying that you couldn't pass them because, you know, if you fell over and died. And I was kind of laughing because in Ireland we don't have any of those because they feel if you fall off, it's your own fault. And so we don't protect all of our stuff like that. You know, you don't, if you're going to walk to the edge of the cliff and throw yourself over, you're probably going to do it. But, you know, the same with these sites, they're protected, but they encourage you to go visit them. And so this is lovely. Do you know what this is near? I mean, for the golfers among us, there's a very, very famous golf club called Royal County Down, one of the top golf courses in the world. And that's really nearby. I think it's only about 25 minutes from this cathedral, actually. So when people are going on a golfing trip and going to this part of Ireland, if you look at the map of Ireland, I did include a map of Ireland today to show, to serve two functions. One was to show the location of Dromoland Castle, and the other is to show the location of Royal County Down and Down Cathedral. So Down Cathedral's on the very, very northeast of Ireland. Right, if you look at Dublin, you look at Belfast, right up there you'll see Down Cathedral.
There's two little
with
pins.
The pin mark. You guys should be able to see that, and that's where it is. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you a little. That was the little significance of the Shamrock and St. Patrick. And then I don't know if anybody's noticed recently, but I've got the blue plant pot. My logo is blue. It's always been blue. And I'm wearing this blue today. And everybody says, what's your obsession with blue, Rachel?
Oh, right, the blue doors.
And I love my blue doors. You know, I've got photographs. Every time I go around Ireland, I take photographs outside blue doors, whether they're Georgian doors or barn doors or gates or, you know, anything that blue. Even the kitchen, in my kitchen, I had a stove made in Pennsylvania with the cobalt blue or that sky blue. And I've loved it. And that's actually the colour, that was our original colour for Ireland before green. And that blue, St. Patrick actually wore blue vestments.
Right, we do have a photo.
I have a photo, and in this photo, I kind of think it doesn't show the blue very well. It's sort of a pale bluey colour. But he wore these blue vestments, hence it became St. Patrick's blue. And that blue then became, we had the original flag that we had, the flag for Ireland, when Henry VIII, our friend Henry VIII was in the throne. The flag was this beautiful colour blue with the gold harp. And that actually is to this day, that is still our presidential flag. Do we have a photograph of that?
Indeed, we
flag?
have that up right now. Oh, wait, yeah, the flag. Mm-hmm.
So it's just blue with the gold harp. So the shamrock's not actually the symbol of Ireland. The shamrock is associated with St. Patrick's Day and the Holy Trinity. And the harp is actually the symbol for Ireland and is on this flag, this blue flag, and that's our presidential standard. Now, in Ireland, where our president is President Michael D. Higgins, and he lives in a place called Orason Uachtaráin. Do you know what that actually means? That's it in Irish, but do you want to know what it means in English?
Most
It means
certainly.
the White House.
The White House. Okay.
And here's a little tidbit. The White House in the United States of America, was actually designed and built by an Irishman.
Really?
Yep, Ken Dowling from Kilkenny. So an Irishman built the White House. The contract was given to him by George Washington.
So let's look again at that photo. So on
And
that
if you look at the photograph of Oris, I don't think I have the photo of Orason Uachtaráin, but I have a photo of the gates with the two
Right.
flags flying.
is that as far as you could get?
Well, I do have photos of Orason Uachtaráin, but I've kind of gone off tangent here. I'm not on script. I just remembered that little detail about the White House for you. But
Okey-dokes.
and there's a whole story about why the White House is actually called the White House. And why Ken Dowling did what he did, and it's a great story. And we don't talk about these stories in St. Patrick's Week. And I think they're very important because, you know, you talk about the hands that built America. But the flag, when it's flying, it means that the president is in residence. And then the other flag is the green, white and orange, which is the flag for Ireland. The green and the orange symbolize the two different opposing religions, and the white in between our parties is the symbol of peace between the two. So that's kind of a little bit of history on the flag, St. Patrick, the blue, the shamrock. And I thought I'd kind of put that into perspective a little bit because I think it's only fair that we do get this right for people's cultures and that. You know, I like to get it right for other people's just because I'm a bit of a history nerd anyway. So, but that's just me. So moving on, this I'm really excited about. I'm going to introduce you to a gentleman who's in Ireland right now. And I'm sitting in a studio in Dallas, Texas, off the Dallas Tollway and Lyndon B. Johnson Freeway. For those in Ireland listening, it's 635, or LBJ as we call it, short for LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson. So I'm sitting at the intersection of these two, and this gentleman is sitting in the drawing room in Dromoland Castle. So, lucky Mark. So he's the managing director, as I said, of Dromoland Castle, and his name is Mark Nolan. But before we connect with Mark and talk to him, I think it's only important that everybody has a quick look at this video of a function and life at Dromoland Castle. The music is this beautiful, mystical Irish music that we don't get enough of. We get the diddly-eye stuff again for St. Patrick's Day, but this music is this lovely, haunting, magical music. And I think, you know what, I'm going to stop talking. You guys have to just watch and see. And so can we roll that video? And when you do, I will stop talking.
That was amazing.
Did you like that, Anna?
I love that.
Does it make you want to go back to Ireland?
It does. Absolutely does. My
Okay.
God, it was beautiful.
So I'm hoping the gods are with us and that the connections are going well and that we are now able to connect with Dromoland Castle and meet with Mark Nolan himself.
I think he is. Oh,
Good.
Yes,
Good
there.
morning. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Well, good afternoon. Have we got him there on the screen? You've got him on the screen?
I do. I'm just putting that in your screen in 1 second.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, at least you know it's working. And oh, there he is. There's the man himself. And you are sitting, like I said, in the drawing room. Is that correct? In Dromoland?
That's correct, Rachel. Can you get the fireplace behind us burning our estate timber?
Oh.
It's a cool evening here, but it's beautiful as always.
And I see that fireplace, like you said, in the background. Now, you mentioned that it's your estate timber. Is there an allotment? Do you have so much of it that you can burn, or is there only so much that you can burn, or how many?
No, well,
have you got?
we usually stick to just fallen trees. But the nice thing we do is for every tree that falls, we plant 12. So there'll be plenty more trees for future generations to come on the estate.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I'm looking at that drawing room and I'm just wondering, and I'm pretty sure this is true, but can people enjoy afternoon tea and coffee there, or is that just somewhere you can just sit and have your own cup of coffee, or what can they do in this lovely drawing room, Mark?
Well, our view is that our customers can do what they like within reason, as long as it's legal in any of our public area rooms. But this is a lovely venue for morning coffee, looking out over the estate and to the Temple of Mercury. And also we do lovely kind of family intimate dinners up to about 20 people here. So it's a fabulous and great versatile room.
Oh, right. Now, I'm glad you mentioned the Temple at Mercury. I'd like to take us back a little bit in time, if we may. And, you know, my knowledge of history is enough to be dangerous, but enough to be interested. And for those of us watching and listening, I think it's important to know that Dromoland Castle is just much more than this very special place as a castle to go and stay, and that. But it was originally the stronghold, would that be correct, for Brian Boru, the High King of Ireland?
That's correct, who lost his life in the Battle of Clontarf. And actually, the chief, sorry, we're crossing over, Rachel, the chief of the O'Briens, Lord Inchiquin, still lives on the estate.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh,
he lives on the house, he lives in Thomond House. And he comes down and he meets groups of O'Briens that stay here from time to time. And he does guest lectures on O'Briens. And of course, in North America, there are thousands and thousands of O'Briens, which is wonderful. And it's wonderful when they come and visit us.
That's wonderful information, Mark, because what you're saying then is for anybody who's watching who's got O'Brien in their family, it sounds like the seat or the root of the O'Brien family really hails from that part of the world.
Absolutely, yeah. This is the stronghold.
Right, so all you O'Briens out there, you need to get over to Dromoland Castle quickly. And could you tell us, you mentioned looking over the grounds there from the drawing room, also that you're looking at the Temple at Mercury. Could you explain to us what the Temple at Mercury is, please?
Well, the Temple of Mercury was built to honour a horse called Sean Bui. When the castle was in disrepair, when it was privately owned by Lord Inchiquin, he had a very good horse called Sean Bui, and he raced it. And the horse won the race. And to honor the horse, he built the hermit's grave, of which the horse buried underneath it.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! So
and he salvaged the castle and re-roof it on the many guineas he made from the race.
Ah, and the castle itself, to look at it, parts of it look a little bit similar to Bunratty Castle. So is there a connection between Dromoland and Bunratty at all?
Yes, there is. A similar, same architect would have been involved in both properties. The castle here has been reinvented. We say that it's here since the 16th century of the 1550. And of course, the oldest part of the castle actually now is the Queen Anne Court, which were the original stables associated with the castle. They're converted now and they've just been renovated into luxury accommodations.
So the Queen Anne Court, you mentioned the luxury accommodations. If somebody was to go over and actually specifically request to stay at the Queen Anne Court, what would they expect to get? Could you describe what kind of accommodations? Is it a bedroom, a suite, self-catering? What is it?
Oh no, these are it's a 5-star property with all services. Depending on what category room you booked in the Queen Anne Court, most of them have an ensuite sitting area, obviously all ensuite bathrooms, and king size, all the amenities you'd expect of a 5-star luxury resort.
Ah, right. Okay. So luxury accommodation, just new ones. And roughly how many bedrooms would you say you had at Dromoland Castle?
We have 97 bedrooms. We've been renovating the castle for the last 4 years. The renovation finishes on the 18th of April. We'll have the whole hotel will have been completely renovated and everything, but done very sympathetically to try and restore the old world feel. And in actual fact, most of the project has been about restoration, not kind of reinvention, if you like.
And you say the word, I notice you say the word restoration, and I think that's important, that I'd like people to hear from what I've noticed with certain properties around Ireland that are restoring. They're not just coming in and renovating, are they? They are bringing it back to its former glory and working with the right builders or craftsmen, craftspeople.
Well, of course, this would be very much a listed building. So we've worked very successfully with the different agencies in Ireland. Some instances, it just goes to show you the detail. In some instances, we haven't been able to replace glass because of the age of the glass. Obviously, we'd love to, be able to replace all the glass, but also we're very empathetic to the request. We want to keep the old world charm of the castle and not lose any of its folkloric history, which is a very important part, and a kind of a thing that we have that is nearly unique to a castle property in Ireland. And also, obviously, to have Lord Inchiquin still living on the estate, it gives a lot of authenticity to what we do.
Well, that's fantastic. I hope some of my clients that are actually watching this or will be watching it later, they know who they are. They're actually scheduled, I can't name them out, but they're all scheduled to go stay with you starting, I think, in June and September. So if they're watching, this is one of the places I'm sending to you guys. So hopefully you have a wonderful time.
Good for you, Rachel. Just always let me know, because we always try and personalize the experience, particularly if we know where they're coming. So we'll always do something nice, a small gesture to. It's great to have our North American friends travel.
No, that's fantastic. And what I'd like for you to talk to people about here who might be thinking of, planning their trips over to Ireland and staying in Dromoland, something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, and I mentioned this to you earlier on. Okay, I'm a Cork woman. I don't have a bias one way or another about airports. Everybody thinks because I'm from Cork, I have something against Dublin Airport. I have nothing against any airport. But I just want to urge people to remember Shannon Airport. And Shannon Airport, in my opinion, is an incredibly efficient airport. I mean, there's nothing, and where the efficiency also comes in, I've noticed, Mark, is if you are hiring a car or getting in and out, I mean, it happens so quickly. And it reduces your wait time. And I know, for example, in a couple of weeks, I actually have American Airlines coming on the show to talk to us as guests. And we're going to talk about TSA and all those beautiful things. But if somebody was flying in or out of Shannon, and I think they should stay in Dromoland, could you give me an idea of, like, say, how far would they be from Shannon? What could they do in the area? Maybe whatever you could add to this and tell our clients about Shannon and Dromoland and the area and the proximity, please.
Well, Rachel, first of all, on the estate, we have our own 18-hole championship golf course. We have falconry, clay target shooting, tennis courts, go-karts for kids and family, swimming pool, so all the amenities you'd expect. But also, we're right in the centre of the tourism part of Ireland. We've a wonderfully done Bunratty Folk Park, which is a very nicely done product. It's about 15 minutes away from us. We've got King John's Castle in Limerick. And the Hunt Museum, which is a fabulous collection of artifacts going back to many years. And of course, we're literally a stone's throw. Well, that's an Irish exaggeration, from the Cliffs of Moher, which, as you know, is one of the iconic things that must be seen when somebody comes to Ireland. But we're right beside Shannon International Airport. We're 15 minutes away. So it makes life very easy. And for the first day, it's a great kickoff point to get your bearings, get comfortable, have a good night's sleep, and then head off on your exciting trip. And of course, the Wild Atlantic Way has been a huge addition to this region in terms of developing tourism, right the whole way down from Kerry up to Donegal.
Now, something else you mentioned about staying there the first night, and that I've been, about 2 weeks ago, I was talking to people on this show. I'm trying to encourage people, it's what I call stop speed dating with Ireland. Because I think because of where I live here now, 20-something years, and I understand vacation time is shorter, and American guests on the whole might on average have a week, and I understand travel time, but if you're staying somewhere different every single night, it can get exhausting. So try and urge people, if you're going to a property like Dromoland, and I'm saying this off my own bat, not because anybody's asked me to, But I do believe strongly in whether it's Ashford or Dromoland to try and stay 2 nights at least, because it's not a property I urge people to use just as a bed and breakfast. You're missing out on the grounds. You're missing out on, like you said, the falconry and all of the special experiences. If you're just going to spend the night and go off early in the morning, it'd be a shame to miss out on what Dromoland actually has to offer. If so if you can stay 2 nights, that'd be great. I was going to ask you one more thing, which was about Mrs. White's afternoon tea. You can have that because my clients love afternoon teas. Can they book them in advance? Can they do that in advance if they want to, or do they have to wait till they get there?
No, in fact, we'd strongly recommend, particularly during the summer season, to book it in advance. It's become kind of an iconic piece of our fabric, and so a lot of people booking it in advance. It's a wonderful event. It's served in our drawing room with huge waterfall crystal chandeliers, hand-woven Venetian silk on the walls. Our resident pianist playing just beautiful melodies. It really is, and it's a hugely popular thing. So for that reason alone, I really suggest when somebody's booking accommodation here that they also book Mrs. White's afternoon tea.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you one final question, Mark, before we have to finish up. Can you believe it's gone so quickly? But with St. Patrick's Day coming up, I wanted to ask you this. A, is there anything in particular you guys are doing at the castle? And B, to end on this very personal note for me, which is, as you know, and I know, the food scene in Ireland has been beyond elevated for many, many years now. And that message needs to be told over here in the United States on a larger scale. I think, is your executive chef, David McCann, I believe?
That's right, yeah.
About your food, and do you source it locally there from Dromoland as best you can? Of course, as best you can, not for everything.
Yes, Rachel. Just we would make every effort to source local produce, and we're literally weekly dealing with different suppliers. There are so many Irish suppliers producing such good foods. I was delighted at the earlier piece when you mentioned about the tradition of kind of bacon and cabbage, those traditional things, which are offered their place and, are wonderful things to eat. But there's so many other things to dine on in Ireland. The food standard and the service standards have just elevated, as you said, beyond compare. And it's nice to hear that we need to get away from this kind of idea that it's a beautiful country, but the food is not good. Food is superb in Ireland. And so it's, I'm delighted to hear you dispel that kind of rumour that still abounds a little bit.
And would you, I know that salmon is a specialty, smoked salmon in Ireland. I'm doing a segment tomorrow on TV for Fox. And a good friend of mine you might know, Nevin Maguire, gave me one of his recipes. So I'm going to use his recipe tomorrow. But of course, I don't have the Irish salmon. But would you source Irish salmon there at the castle?
Yes, absolutely. And we have a local producer that smokes it in the burn. So absolutely. And it's a great quality. Pardon?
Is it Brigitte Curtin from the Spurn Smokehouse?
Yes, Brigitte would be an excellent supplier to us. We would deal with a few suppliers, but Brigitte is really an exceptional supplier of smoked salmon.
For those of you who know me, I'm always talking about the Burn Smokehouse salmon. And of course, I won't go on, but I have a thing about the Burn perfumery. And there's a wonderful gentleman in the Burn called Dr. Brendan Dunford. And I've taken people on these food tours, and we'll go and study the old Folacht Fias in the Burren and the early Irish food, and then bring it modern day. So it's really nice. But I urge people to eat the food in these places, because I'm challenging people, but it's right up there with Italian and French cuisine now in Ireland. It's spectacular, and we owe it to strongly to, I've said this again, hoteliers, producers, cafe owners, pub owners, chefs. We owe to all of them for the work that they've been doing for years and years now to do it justice. And anywhere I can, I have to stop talking about this green beer and cabbage thing. And like you said, I've nothing against a good piece of bacon and cabbage. But it's just that that's the only thing we get again and again. And there was imagery running, wasn't there, Anna, of the food at Dromoland throughout this? So people might have seen those beautiful imageries. And did you see their desserts, the delicacies that they were serving?
They look amazing.
They're incredible. And that's all at the hands of their chef, David McCann. So we have to check them out. So listen, I wanted to say a very big thank you to Mark and to all of the staff there at Dromoland Castle, and wish you all a very, very good and safe St. Patrick's Day. Do you have any plans this weekend, Mark, or the castle have any plans?
Well, it's I'd have to be honest and say it's a big rugby weekend. because, of course, Ireland are playing Wales on the Saturday. But Sunday we've lots of plans. We'll be greening the castle, 3 pints of Guinness to our residents, and a few other nice things. So if you're in the area and you haven't got a bed, we'll fix you up, and we'd love to see you here over the weekend. And of course, Monday being a bank holiday this weekend, so we'll certainly drown the Shamrock.
And so, can we see photos of Dromoland being greened? Will they share those on social media platforms, Dromoland Castle?
Yeah, absolutely. We certainly shall. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell people to follow on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all those. We'll put a post up. Anna, can we put up a link to Dromoland's, all of their social media pages?
Yes, we will.
And people can look out for the greening, because I think that's lovely. So again, Mark, thanks a million for joining us, and wishing you all a very safe and lovely weekend.
A pleasure, and best of wishes to all your customers, your listeners and watchers, and we'd love to welcome you to Dromoland. It is a special place.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Anna, so
I would like to know, what are you doing this St. Patrick's Day?
What am I doing this St. Patrick's Day? I'm actually taking a rest on St. Patrick's Day, because the week leading up to it for me is almost like my Super Bowl. Tomorrow I'm on, gosh, what am I talking about? Tomorrow morning, I'm on Fox 4 Good Day with Tim and I forget the other lady's name, she's gone. So I'm doing an Irish smoked salmon tomorrow morning. On Friday morning, I'm on Good Morning Texas, and I'm doing something with Jane McGarry, and I'll be cooking something up there and talking about St. Patrick's Day traditions. And then on Friday afternoon, I'm doing a radio show with Brian Glenn. I think his show is called In the Know, and it's on 6:20 a.m. or something like that.
Wow.
I will have I've got
busy times.
TV and radio, busy time, yeah, for me. So, and then the St. Patrick's Day parade is on Greenville Avenue on Saturday, which I normally don't attend. But this year I'm going to go because one of our best friends, he actually founded the parade, Tom Stevenson.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, he's Tom and Sally Stevenson. So he's got a float in honor of him. So his family and friends are all going to be on the float. So I'll be there having some fun. So sure, why not?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Then people must know exactly what to tell you, not show up with any
I'm afraid
stereotypes?
I'll probably have to wear the green or something on St. Patrick's Day. I'm not a killjoy, and that's the thing, is I have nothing against St. Patrick's Day or having a great time. I just want the balance of the information. That's all. So.
I get it.
Okay then. Well, for now, that's it. I'm going to sign out, and we'll have a new show next week. Lots of exciting things coming up. I say that every week, exciting, but there will be. I'm going to be interviewing some Irish chefs. We've got Nevin Maguire, Catherine Fulvio coming on the show. And then don't forget to watch Lords and Ladles. And then I've got Jo Brown from Jo Brown Cosmetics coming on, and we're going to be talking about her products. So stay tuned. And thank you everybody for watching. Lá féile Pádraig agus y'all. Bye bye y'all.